Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Arlene.
Hi, Arlene.
Chris. How is everybody tonight? Hopefully everybody's thawing out.
Hopefully.
Is it cool or is it warmed up there, Dale?
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
It started melting off today, but we didn't get to all of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just a really sloppy mess right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So me and Jesse kept saying we was gonna go out and build a snowman, and tomorrow we'd probably go out and make a mud man.
Yeah.
I scraped off the lot at church, and then I have a guy that I'm very good friends with. When they have a meeting in Oklahoma City that one of us wants to go to, the other one will take off from work and we go. And his church is about 5 miles maybe from mine, probably less than that. And so I called him. I said, "Have y'all scraped off your lot?" He said, "Nope." I said, "I'm going over there." And he came over and brought me a Diet Mountain Dew while I was there. And he said, "You need to be sure and watch when you leave here. When you get to this one T, straight out in front of you at that house, it looks like they've just got a huge pile of snow. But it's not. It's an igloo. They hollowed the inside of it all out. And it was probably 6 foot tall. And
no kidding.
Yeah, it was huge.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Shall we build an igloo?
Definitely.
Yeah. We did that one time. We used 5-gallon buckets. Yeah. That's been a few
Anita
years.
says it's 4 foot tall, but I exaggerate everything.
It's 4 foot tall because Paul posted it on Facebook.
Was it for sale?
No.
There you go.
Paul, it obviously you and I have spouses that know are related to each other or friends, because this one says I exaggerate all the time too. So
She got me out of jail once, though, apparently.
Oh, goodness.
Remember, you have to lie. What the post said, and I'm like, well, if it's got to lie, it better be a good one, make it worth it.
Yeah.
You
hi,
go
Teresa.
may as well make
Hi,
it a Whopper.
Scotty.
Oh goodness. Yeah, you're gonna tell one. It may as well be a Whopper, huh?
That's right.
That's right.
Oh. Yeah.
That's right.
Goodness.
Yeah, so it was a little bit watery, milty, and it was weird all day. It sounded like vehicles crashing all day long here.
Kinda, yeah.
From all the ice and the
Stuff busting.
falling out of
I
the
haven't even heard the
trees.
neighbors drive by.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's been kind of peaceful out here.
Granted, I went
Hi,
to work
Lauren.
yesterday.
Hi,
Yeah.
Lauren.
Jesse's boss came and got her to go to work.
He got
No
stuck in the
kidding.
driveway.
My boss is a jerk like that.
You got to remember we got a lot of ice last weekend. So our tree limbs were
Ugh.
double, triple their size of what they actually are. And all of the power lines and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it was so weird. We didn't lose power when we got the big ice storm,
Right.
But we got all that snow and we had to go get pig feed. And I walked out of the house, and as soon as I get in the truck, I get a text message that says our electric's out.
Oh, no.
But it
we
was
always
only
have
out
we always
about
have
an hour.
the TV running for Boss, because Boss gets put in the kennel. And so I'm like, well, I know the TV was running when I come out to start the
I
truck
said,
and scrape the ice.
Maybe it had just went off. And I was thinking in my head, because he has a remote to, and I don't know why I thought this. He has a remote to the TV on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, maybe it worked. Maybe he turned it off. He knew the TV was on. That was dumb.
Oh goodness.
But no, the electric went off.
Hi, Evelyn.
When I walked out the door.
Kristen.
Hey, Chris with Missouri Survival.
Hi,
Teresa
Chris.
J. Evelyn making it home. Sorry, guys, I'm a little behind. Melted off a bunch. We'll all refreeze tonight and mess. I hope not. It's supposed to be 40 again tomorrow here, so
Yeah.
still
Really?
33 right now.
Really?
I'm gonna check and
Well,
see
I
what
don't
it is
know.
here. I guess it's right
When
there.
we talk
It's
about a Whopper
33 right
earlier,
now.
we may as well make it good.
Hi, David and Cameron.
Maybe it's going to be 60 tomorrow. We'll just, we'll go.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna have to tell a Whopper, make it like 80.
Oh.
Everybody will have pneumonia from the temperature.
I mean, you didn't catch a 5-pound fish. You caught a 15-pound fish, right?
yeah, remember how big of a
That's
fish
why
the
you tell him
one-armed
it
man
was
caught.
this long.
It was this long.
The one-armed man caught one this long.
This long.
No, it's supposed to be 40 tomorrow.
Sure is.
I
That's
know.
what
I
they
just
said.
looked at mine. It said 40 on our for us too.
Of course, like I
Hey,
said, I got
none
the
of
reading
our-
for Bella Vista, so
2 days ago, none of our highs were below freezing. Now they're predicting
That's
another.
Is that what you want?
another-
Okay.
A week from Monday, 24 and 11, but
ew.
oh well.
I don't like that.
Neither.
I will
I'm
have
for
my
spring.
I'll have my chores shortened up a lot by then if I get to haul calves off on Monday.
Yeah.
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 Foothills of Appalachia got 4 inches. I think
Neither Derek.
That's what I was laughing at. Was
about
Derek
5
said,
inches.
"I thought this was Saturday Night Live. I need more cowbell."
Where's Will Carroll?
Boing, boing, boing.
Well, I don't think Lauren asked who else going to the Mid America meetup in May. I don't
Not
think
me.
we're going to get to.
No, we don't get to go.
Eric has to see. That's our anniversary weekend. Eric has to work, and now my sister's booked the craft show for us somewhere in Arkansas. I'm not sure where. I think down by Little Rock, and it's like, really?
Over yonder.
Over yonder, yeah. But
For
that's-
some reason, my work thinks I have to be there because that's the graduation
right?
of our college.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
why they think I have to be there being an instructor, but for some reason they think
Tell
I
him
have
you
to.
ain't graduating. So.
Trey.
Hi, Trey.
Trey,
Trey.
we haven't seen you in a while.
I was just fixing to message him. Now I don't have to.
Blech.
Lauren, I'd love to go, but there's, unfortunately, it's just like Jan's meetup was last year. That's the same weekend.
Yeah, same weekend as graduation.
Hey Trey, my wife has been bugging me to get a hold of you and ask you a burning question, and I wondered if you knew the answer to the question before I ask it. There. Hmm,
All righty then.
no problem.
We're ready to see you two going out Monday. Derek and Dinkin Tank is in there. Howdy, guys.
My fingers are cold.
Hey,
There.
oh,
There's Abbott.
David and I share the same sentiment. Some of this weather we've been having ain't fit for man nor beast.
Yeah, that's right.
That is the truth.
Uh,
That is the truth.
Well, I popped our chat out and put over the top of the chat, so I'm not seeing everybody else's chat, but I'm seeing the chat that's on our channel. So that
Hello,
way I can keep
Chris.
track of it.
Kevin with Tuber Chat. Texas Raider. Heavens Fire 18. Hello. Rebecca.
Okay, Nita.
Glenn and Shannon. Jeopardy style.
We have to wait for a video to come out.
For a video.
Hi, Tuber Chat.
Question?
Hi,
Hello,
Tiffany.
everybody.
Glenn and Shannon. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Holly Hobby.
The kittens.
In case you guys were wondering, Trey answered my question that I didn't ask him.
I noticed that.
Did you see that? Yeah.
But I didn't like the answer.
No, he's not on here tonight, so he's just in the chat. Would you like to call him and talk to him? I have his phone number.
And Lisa. Derek, Glenn and Shannon, Tiffany.
We
We,
have 37 in here
Man,
tonight.
we got a house full tonight.
I hope he's feeling up to doing his live on Monday night because the video he just had come out showed him doing some let's see, hygiene work on some cattle and doing some little surgeries. And I have never seen somebody do it that way. We got trained when I was in college that you wanted to take their tail right straight up over their back, and that worked like a spinal tap.
Yep.
And it would cause them to go numb, and they'd just stand still.
It was always called taking them out of gear. You know, put them in neutral, take them out of gear, Buck. Might have to hold the tail up over the top of them.
My dad and I figured out that you could pull down on a rope easier than you could pull up on their tail. And we made a deal that went over the top of our alleyway that was just a piece of heavy square tubing. And the rope went through it. And on the end of the rope, he had a pair of vice grips that he'd made some big jaws for that you could clamp them on the calf's tail. And then outside of the alleyway, you could just pull down on the rope a little bit. Oh, that works so sweet. I still got it, but we hardly ever use it.
You didn't get secondhand grass all over your hands?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons you needed that vice grips on there.
Yeah.
But the trouble I had with it is on small calves, my dad had made a loop in it. You could put your foot in the rope and he'd have their back feet off the ground. They were definitely in neutral then.
Yep.
I was going to say this morning I turned Trey's video on and I just fixed something to eat and I sat down in front of the TV and I turned that on. About choked, and right at the same time my son looks up and he says, well, I sure hope he took her to dinner first. I was like, oh my goodness, I about choked on my breakfast. It was terrible. But yeah, it was quite a video, Trey.
Thanks for that, Derek. He's been a farmhand for 16 months.
Thank you, Derek.
Glenn and Shannon, you know, I those classes that I took in college, they gave me some learning I didn't get from home, but I mean, how much of it I use now, I don't know.
Your shoes under.
Yeah, I had some of those in college too. Because
a lot of my college was that way. I don't know what you went to school for, but I went for farm and ranch management. I got my 2-year degree.
You did better than me.
I've never worked for anybody else.
I was gonna be an ag. I was taking agricultural science that was gonna go to, then planning on transferring somewhere to be, you know, an ag teacher, and of course life got in the way of that. So then I went out and got the real world education, and you know, a bunch of mechanics and certifications and you name it after that. But
yeah,
Angie's in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Angie. I was gonna say y'all got to sing it. I'm not the singer here.
Angie.
Oh, Lord. Keep your cold hands to yourself.
Are you having cold hands, Jesse?
Yeah,
She keeps sticking them on me.
Because of cold
just
heart.
because you just got out of the shower or something?
Yeah.
I had to run in there and tell her to hurry because I thought Eric said he said it for 8:30. And it's like, you need to hurry.
Oh, well, we thought it was for 7. So then we got to looking and she goes, no, it's 8. I said, oh, well, then we can finish supper and
There you go.
everything. And then,
Annalisa could get a nap.
yeah,
I did.
Lisa did get a nap.
So maybe I can stay up the rest of the time.
Lisa,
Yeah,
I
we're
literally
going
just
to be
woke
done
her
by
up.
9.
I'm good for a couple more hours. 3 more hours.
Hey, I got up extra early yesterday to sit by the phone and wait and see if Eric made it to work fine. Since, you know, he drove the side-by-side to work. And
Yeah.
Did he really
How
drive
cold
the side by
it was.
side?
He did.
He did. And he didn't video it.
And then he calls or messages this afternoon. He said, have Jamie hook up the trailer and come up and pick it up. And I was like, well, can't do that because Jamie has to go to work. And I was like, well, your truck is here. He says, yeah, but I have my keys at work with me. So I
Look
was
at
like,
that.
you're out of luck.
Dan says they held the tail up when he was in FFA, and I promise you that was a while before I was in FFA.
But luckily, he can back road it other than he had to run into town and get gas in the side-by-side. But most of it, he would take the back roads and hardly get on the pavement. So
I misplaced country girl.
I drove Gary to work today.
Drove Gary to work. You know what where I drove Lisa to work. I actually did do that.
That's not how I drove Gary to work.
out the porch and Gary put in.
I didn't leave the doorway. That's as far as I
Lynn,
said.
the okie dokie. What's up, Lynn?
Val was an FFA.
Treasure.
Val.
I bet everybody on this screen was in F. Well, I shouldn't go that far.
She wasn't.
I wasn't.
I knew it. I
Nope.
knew it.
I was.
Now we know what's wrong with that girl.
Did you
I
have to
did.
dissect frogs in high school science?
We did. It was weird. I don't remember it
Could be
much.
a lot of her problem.
But I took
Gonna get
early
some-
child
There's Rena
development
LaRue.
and cooking and sewing.
Hi, Rena. You know, I took both. My home ec teacher, she loved me.
I didn't like home ec. I didn't, yeah.
I liked home ec.
Because she wanted me to go exactly by her recipe, and I just like to throw stuff in.
Well, that is the only argument her and I had was I said we were there for a little bit, and I'm like, I took this because we were going to cook.
So we could
And I'm
eat.
like, we haven't been cooking. And she's like, well, what do you want to cook? And I said, I'll make chocolate chip cookies for the whole class. And she's like, well, okay, you just do that. Next week. So I said, you got it. So that class started. I had my eggs and my vanilla and my shortening and my sugar and brown sugar and all that, baking soda and flour and chocolate chips. And I just start putting stuff in it. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She's like, where are you getting this from? I said, what do you mean? Where's your book with your recipe? I said, if you need a recipe, then you're in the wrong business.
True story.
Facts.
And she's like, well, how do you know how to cook it? I said, my grandma taught me when I was like 5.
Misplaced country girl. My home ec teacher didn't know what to do with me.
What?
I'm trying to tell you to move your cat.
When you have an addiction to cookies, you're going to learn how to make cookies.
Right?
Val still has her FFA jacket.
I do too, somewhere.
I had mine till my mom's house burnt.
But I guarantee you, I would look like a fat guy in a little.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I was about 125 to 130 pounds soaking wet my senior year.
Mine actually would have been too big for me by now.
I may have ate that guy twice by now.
Oh goodness
Gracious.
Found out Friday at 3.
Of course, y'all know we don't watch any network TV or anything. Pretty much
There
we
either.
YouTube, and so I was watching a bunch of stuff, old stuff on YouTube, and there was a deal about the Joplin stockyards in there. I watched and thought that was kind of cool. And then this evening, it recommended for me a video by Jerry Clower, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I've seen this video before, but hey, I'd watch it again. And then I look at it and it says Billy Martin and Babe Ruth, I think. And those 3 guys told the same story, but they all gathered it up like it was theirs.
Really?
Yeah. And it was the story about the old mule.
That's one?
That's one.
Nope, a different one.
Oh, the bird hunting one.
Yeah, the bird hunting one.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that one, Tina?
I probably have, but if I remember, it's a different
I
story.
have it.
He's gonna go bird hunting on Mr. Ledbetter's place. So they pulled up there. Jerry had this record executive with him, and when it was the other two guys, it was just them that had went to this guy's house that one of them knew. And he said, "Sure, you can go bird hunting here. We don't care, but can you do me a favor and shoot and kill my old mule?" Well, he tells one of them that, and the other one don't hear it. The other one's out in the car still or in the truck. And the one, he says, "The old mule's sick and I don't want her suffering. Can you shoot her for me? I just can't bear to do it myself." And he's like, "Okay, I'll do it." And then on the way out the door, he gets thinking, "I'm going to have a little fun with this." So he goes out there and tells the guy still sitting in the car, "Can you believe that? That old man won't let me hunt on his place. I've been knowing him since I was just a youngin'. And I've worked for him and helped him, and he won't let me hunt on his place." And they're driving out the driveway, and there's that old mule standing along the road. So he pulls his gun, steps out of the truck, boom, shoots him, graveyard dead. And then while he's standing there, he hears boom, boom, boom. He turns around, and there's that record executive. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "That old man upset you so bad, I just shot 3 of his cows."
Yep.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Calm
Billy-
down, John.
Billy
Come on,
Martin,
John.
apparently that Billy Martin was Babe Ruth's manager.
Oh, really?
And
I was going to say, Billy Martin's a tire repair guy here.
the way the way that he told it and the way that Babe Ruth told it, no, it wasn't Babe Ruth, it was Mickey Mantle.
Ah,
The way that Mickey Mantle told it, it cost Billy Martin 3 cows. He had to buy the 3 cows. Yeah. Coon hunting.
remember, Paul, Jerry's Uncle Versey was a Deepwater Baptist, he says.
Yeah, he said he told that nephew of his, he said, "No, you can't just sprinkle somebody." And he says, "Well, what if we put them down under till their chin and up is showing?" He said, "No, that won't work. That won't work." He said, "Well, what if we put them down to where their eyes are just barely showing above the water?" He said, "No." He said, "Well, what if we put them down to where the only thing showing out of the water is the very top of their head?" And Versey says, "Nope, that won't work. They got to go all the way in." And the nephew says, "I knew it was only that spot in the top of your head that mattered anyway."
Oh, goodness.
There's so many of his I just love.
Yeah.
Like he's talking about the Marcel's brother. I can't remember which one. He thought he was a log truck when they were in school.
Yeah.
He just go around sounding like a log truck everywhere he went. He said we had to climb the stairs to go up into this new school. And he said as he's climbing up the stairs, he had to downshift like the log truck climbing the mountains.
He was also the one that when they took Papa coon hunting on his anniversary, he wouldn't quit mocking the coon.
Yep.
Will you shut up?
Oh,
Gosh,
goodness.
I'm telling you, like they don't make comedy like that anymore.
Nope. That's
Nobody.
You
Like
listen to Jerry talk about the Ledbetters, he'd tell you it was Marcel, Burnell, Raynell. I don't even know all of them.
New Gel.
Rattle them all off. Clovis, Nugene, and Ledbetter. And what was the other one? I can't remember.
What was the one they said they lived so far back in the woods that Mama told he was going to town, and Mama told him to get a can of coffee, something else, and to check the mail. Said he went and he joined the army, or I don't remember if it, like I said, it's been so long since I've heard it, joined the Marines, just served his time, come back and told Mama, "Here's your coffee." There was no mail.
The one I like is that they had him and Marcel, when they went off to war together, had to catch that train. And there was a guy on the train selling oranges, apples, and bananas. And he asked him, he said, "What is a banana?" Said, "Well, it's a banana. It's 2 for a nickel or something." He said, "Well, give me 2 of them." And he said, "Well, how do you eat them?" He said, "You got to peel that outer off of there and then eat the rest of it." And he gave that to Marcel and told him to peel the outer off and eat the rest of it. And he took 1 bite of it and they went in a tunnel. And Marcel says, "Jerry, have you ate your banana yet?" He says, "Don't do it." And I took 1 bite and went stone blind.
I'll remember that. The other one is he took Marcel to New York City to go eat, to go up and eat codfish, and chips at some fancy restaurant. And they stayed in some fancy hotel. And they could not figure out how to turn off the light in the hotel room. It was so funny.
He said, turn. It was the syringes on them cop cars.
Yep, them syringes on them cop cars just kept me awake all nights long.
He said they couldn't figure out how to shut the light off. Big fancy hotel. They had a light hanging from 2 wires. And he said, "Marcel, turn off the light." He said, "I can't find the dad blame switch." And he pulled out his pocket knife, opened it up, and got up there and reached up the top of that. Jerry said the light went out, and so did Marcel.
So did Marcel.
I like the one about the Marcel Ledbetter Moving Company. They called him to move a baby grand piano out of a 3rd-story window and get it down on the ground and haul it away to a different place. And so he went up on top of the house and nailed down a 2x6 that had a pulley on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a rope through that pulley and he tied it onto the leg of that piano. And then Marcel was down on the ground and he'd wrapped his hand around that rope and he said, "Okay, push it out nice and easy." Well, of course, when that thing left the ledge, down and Marcel went up.
Yeah, Marcel went up, and then the piano hit the ground, and Marcel come down.
and I don't remember who it was. It was one of his brothers was hollering, "Whoa, Marcel, talk to me, Marcel." And Marcel said, "I just went by you twice, and you didn't say nothing. I ain't gonna talk to you."
I love it. It cracks me up because like youngins, they don't get it. Like they don't understand anything about it.
Yeah,
Like
it was Eugene.
He was talking about one of them where he's talking about, they were getting ready to go coon hunting, and he said, "We didn't do nothing that day, but took some corn to the mill for grinding for dog bread."
Dog bread.
He said, "Brought that back." He said, "Cut a whole hay field," and then
Peg
got back in a pig that had done got out, and used a piece of firewood to staple down the fence. And then we had a rat killing. If I'm lying, I'm dying. We had rat killings in them days. Rat killing was like the biggest thing there ever was.
Oh, goodness.
The whole town would come. Everybody'd come for the rat killing. Woo, that was fun, I guarantee. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's like coyote drives back in the day. Like the whole community,
Right?
would go coyote driving.
I think it was come on there last night. I was listening to that one story and then another one. Jerry was telling about the Ledbetters and wanted to host the Olympics, but they kept coming up with games that they was going to have. So and so was going to run this game, and he said, "I don't know what y'all thinking them games that you're talking about. They don't even do them in the Olympics." And they said, "Well, they will in ours."
They will now.
Yeah. And they said Jerry ought to be in charge of the fox hunt because he has some kind of skills hunting them fox.
Uh-huh.
He said, and what they were alluding to was that we had something getting our chickens. And back during the Depression, if you had something getting a chicken, it'd be about like something getting a youngin' now.
Yep.
And so he said we had to figure out who it was. And my brother Sonny and I went and set up a surveillance and watched for what it was. And about a week into this, they seen these two little fox coming up just out there on the horizon, almost dark. And Sonny said, "There they are. There's them culprits." He said, "Jerry, you get a pine top and go around on the other side of them, and I'll give you a sign. And you make all kinds of noise and wave that pine top around. And we'll see if we can't scare them so they go in their hole." And so he did that, and they went down in the hole. So they went over there, and Jerry put his foot on the hole, and Sonny said, "Jerry, go get the gasoline. It only costs 15 cents a gallon."
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
And it didn't cost that if you had a Arkansas credit card, better known as a siphon hose. He said, so we got us a gallon of gas and went out there. And he said, my brother Sonny poured that in there. Gup, 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 gup. He said, stand, and they lit him a little tail of that out. And he said, stand back, and he lit a match off his overall bib chalice and threw down, and that went shh, boom. He said, there's fire everywhere. He said, you never seen such an explosion. Also, any of y'all that's cultured and country enough to know that a fox has a hole he goes down, you also would know he has a hole he'll come back up out of.
Mm-hmm.
I was standing straddle of that hole. Says, a ball of fire went this way, and a ball of fire went that way, and one come up the middle. My brother Sonny's lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be here. And my children are lucky to be here.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I'm telling you, like, yeah, and 2 or 3 of them I've noticed we're talking about the eating the boiled okra. And that slick, slimy boiled okra. Give that to the dogs. The dog went to go eat a piece and ate it all at one time and started whooping the other one because he thought that he didn't get any because it all went down so fast.
He called it a bait. I don't know what that means, but I think I got it. A bait of boiled okra.
A bait of boiled okra. I'm telling you, like, yeah, I use that stuff all the time, and people don't know it anymore. Like, everybody knew who Jerry Clower used to be.
Right. I went to school with a kid that they had I forget what the name of the disease they had, but they had to make trips to the hospital in Washington, D.C. all the time. And they flew out there and everything. And he come home telling the one time that he sat on the plane all the way out there next to Jerry Clower. And he
No
told stories
way.
of his dog
That's
the
cool.
whole way. And he was just so tickled. And I was like, wow, you sat on the plane next to Jerry Clower?
He was probably going up there to get some of that bean and cod.
Bean and God, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
they
you like
lived in-
it? I mean, he was an extension agent. Wouldn't you like to have him as your extension agent?
That'd be cool.
Oh, goodness.
You know he was ornerier than a pet coon.
Oh, yeah.
with turpentine all over it.
We
Had to be.
When I was in 4-H, we had an extension agent named Rick Rexwinkle. And it didn't matter what you called him, as long as it started with an R, he'd answer. You might call him Rickwinkle, whatever. It didn't matter. And
We used to show pigs with some Rex Winkles from down that way.
We did.
yeah, that would have been his son and daughter. But they had sheep. He grew.
No, this would be Braden used to show against the kids.
Yeah.
So
His
it would have been
his son, Rick's son. I can't remember his name, but he has an insurance business in Miami. And you want to talk about somebody that's always there supporting the sale at the county fair. Now, Ottawa County Fair's premium auction's a little different than a lot of local county fairs. It's 100% premium. You keep the animal. The shower keeps.
Yeah, see, that's not the way it is in Kansas. In Kansas, if you walk it in the sale ring at the fair, it gone. Like it has one face. It's gonna.
I don't think it's. I think Ottawa County may be one of the very few that do it that way.
Yep.
And
I thought the state of Oklahoma was pretty much a premium only state, and I know they just changed Kansas
at the Tulsa State
To get one
State Fair, you sell them. They go away. I know the one we always wanted to get in the premium sale at was Fort Smith, and Fort Smith quit letting us come over there and show cattle sometime after I got out of school. But I had one that got in the premium sale at Fort Smith when I was a freshman, I think, in high school, and I got $1.95 a pound for that steer calf. But they did something else different at that premium sale. They also had a carcass show. And so after they butchered them, they would grade the carcasses. And the weird thing was the top 3 steers of the show was usually in the bottom 10. And the bottom 5 steers in the show would be in the top 10. Every time I ever got to see one of their carcass show sheets.
Big show, Vernon County, Missouri, where I grew up. They'd always have a carcass class, and they would judge them on foot before they went to Vernon County meat packers, and then we would get. That was like on a Monday, and then on a Thursday we got to go and see the results in the cooler.
They didn't let anybody else in the cooler on that one at Fort Smith. It was a deal where you got paperwork from it, was all you got if you were in that sale.
Well, now lately, the last few years I've been there, they bring a refrigeration truck in there with windows, and the carcasses the champion and reserve are hanging in it on the fairgrounds so everybody can see them. But I remember one year my cousin won it, and that pig was the snakiest, non-growing, like it placed dead last in that class. Like everybody there thought that was the most horrible pig they'd ever seen. The only reason why they put it in the carcass class was just so he had somewhere to put it, and he just won that whole carcass deal with that show because that was back in the late 80s, early 90s when what did we want them? We wanted them as lean as possible. Fat was supposed to be so bad for you. They wanted, and that thing didn't have an ounce of fat on it. It was lean.
Every judging contest we went to back then, if on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place you used the word greasy, you could ace your reasons. They were all too greasy to be first.
Avid, I got your message about a Hudson, but you sent me a Hornet. I know what a Hudson, 56. I have seen them before. He's asking, Paul, do you remember a 1956 Hudson Hawk?
I was negative.
I was going to say, I wasn't even born. I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one up here.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, but if you don't know old cars, you
Right.
know old cars. You know what I mean.
I know there was one in the movie Cars.
Yep, and that's what
There was.
that's what he was. The old car that was the giving all the advice and everything. The old sheriff or whatever. That's what he
Hey,
was.
Troy.
That had been a race car.
Well, I'm not sure
Hudson.
if all of them are there, but I think just about the whole cast of that movie is in Galena, Kansas still.
Yeah, we saw it when we.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
And we got taught something, or I did, that I was watching Sick. It's called Sick Week, but it was 666. And what it is it's a drag and drive. So it's a drag race, and then they drive to the next track. They go to like 5 tracks, and they took Route 66. So what caught my eye was they were racing at Mocan, and then they were going to Tulsa, and they were taking Route 66. They stopped there, and they said that the tow truck and everything that they have Mater's eyes in and everything, that literally is the tow truck that inspired Tow Mater. Like that whole show, the whole movie was inspired by those few old cars. There.
Actually, there was a few people that inspired the genre, I guess, for the cars, or maybe the personalities for them, that are local to around here. And one of them was a mailman that used to deliver mail to us. And I'm not sure he didn't inspire him on old Mater, because he had a lot of stories. Have you guys ever watched the trailers after that? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know about Mater and the Ghost Light then?
Oh, yeah. Mater and the
That
Ghost
was
Light.
the Spook Light, which is just a half a mile south of me here. And that old boy that inspired that deal, he delivered mail down here. And so that was
No, Lynn. Galena is between me and Paul.
I'm really close to Joplin.
But
I'm not totally positive. I think Galena would be the closest town to the southeast corner of Kansas.
I'm pretty sure.
They say Baxter's the first cow town in Kansas, and it would be it'd be close, but I think it's 5 miles from where Four Corners used to be to Baxter, and it's only 3 to Galena. There. They messed that all up now, though. You can't even figure out where Four Corners used to be, I don't think.
So we got 3 corners here in
I'm
Southwest
telling
City.
you.
There's a rock there.
For the longest time at Four Corners, it was a 3-way stop so that the yellow transit trucks coming off of I-44 going toward Baxter didn't have to stop and make a left-hand turn. And they had it posted as a 3-way stop, but unless you had been through there and knew, you didn't know which way didn't stop. They changed that before I got my driver's license, but I remember with my phone.
So what about the movie Green Hornet? Are you talking the comic book movie, Evan? Or is it a car movie? Speaking of movies, so we mentioned this movie, and if you guys haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It's called The Forge. It's from the what's their name? The Kendrick brothers, the ones that done Courageous and Fireproof and all that.
Oh, it is so good.
It is
Dale and
so
I
good.
crying pretty much through the whole thing. It's excellent.
Dale, have you ever heard of a couple of guys called the Skit Guys?
The Skit Guys?
You should watch some of their stuff. They are on YouTube. You can find their stuff by just going to the Skit Guys. But they've got one skit that they do that it is called Chiseled, that it really resonates with a lot of people. You ought to go look that up, the Skit Guys. And they actually, we have reenacted some of their skits in some of our stuff at church before. They're very cool the way they do it. 2 guys that you would think don't even like each other. Hmm.
At Tony.
Huh. I'll have to check them. The skit
Yep,
guys.
the skit guys.
Okay. That's kind of like the one of what is their name? I can't think of the name of that channel, but like they talk and it's the Californians moved to Texas and stuff like that. But they also have they have a lot of biblical ones too, you know. What is it called? Bumblebee or
Hi, Chris.
something like that.
I don't know.
Dan went to the Tulsa State Fair one year and meet another year. You know, it's
Make
funny.
it that hell.
That wasn't when we were in school, y'all. Promise, it wasn't.
Oh,
You know what's really funny is I'm thinking most of Southwest Missouri anyway, and all their 4-H and FFA, their cattle shows, it's 4-H and FFA. You go to Kansas, a bunch of their shows are open. You go there,
none up in this country. They're
really,
4-H only.
Coffeyville Interstate Fair is still open. And,
Coffeyville.
you go to that.
Coffeyville's borderline Oklahoma.
No,
Coffeyville is Oklahoma.
South Coffeyville.
Yeah, South Coffeyville. Is
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
North Coffeyville is still Oklahoma.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, that whole county would like to succeed from Kansas and go to Oklahoma.
Please take them. Just take them.
That's funny, isn't it? I bet McDonald County would never think of succeeding from Missouri, now would they?
Never.
We tried.
Have you heard about this?
No,
Yeah. At one time, McDonald County had
You
decided
didn't watch my videos this summer.
they were going to succeed
I
from
sorry.
Missouri. And here's why. Because Missouri left them out of the tourism booklet that came out that year.
We got our feelers hurt
Oh, I do kind of remember this now.
back
Okay.
in the 60s, and I wasn't even thought of yet. So
The state of Missouri apparently deployed some of their own guardsmen to make them stay.
we had our own stamps and
Oh
everything.
my.
Could have joined in Arkansas. Now I've heard a
Oh, that's
really
too
funny
funny.
joke.
I don't know if I'd want to join Arkansas. Now let's not
They
go
tried
that
to get
far.
Benton County, Arkansas, McDonald County, Missouri, and was it Delaware County, Oklahoma? They were gonna try to join the three and make one state, but the others kind of opted out.
And just make a state.
One state.
One state.
Well,
We didn't want Missouri no more.
I can tell you what state of mind that is, but I'm not supposed to say words like that on here.
We had our own militia and everything. They parked at the border, and you had to have border passes and everything, which it was all basically.
Well,
for
that's
tourists,
kind of like
but-
our trivia the other night on Kansas history,
right.
like the bleeding Kansas and all that kind of stuff. Like we're in part of we're along that border is where we're along
Right.
the Missouri-Kansas line.
Yeah.
And I know like what Dakota said on there was like, well, it's because Kansas was for this and Missouri was for this and yada yada. No, it wasn't. That was town to town
Right.
Mhm.
on each side of the line. One side was for it, one side was, and they could have flip flopped. The state didn't mean nothing to them.
Exactly.
All them towns and Lawrence, or Lecompton actually, that was the original capital of Kansas. You know, it was part of what got burnt by the bushwhackers that come from Missouri.
Yep.
And my old county seat, Nevada, Missouri, they have a festival every year in the fall called the Bushwhacker Days.
Well, see, we celebrate Jesse James days.
Yeah.
And
And,
everybody says you
I'm
celebrate
related to
an
Jesse
outlaw.
James.
I'm not going to tell you what they celebrate at Quapaw. Okay, maybe I will. They have heydays at Quapaw.
Hey days.
And believe it or
Heyday.
not, and I think it must have been before the mining came in and messed a lot of things up. They used to load hay on rail cars at Quapaw, Oklahoma, and ship them all over the nation. That's very interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
It is actually. Do you know that we live close to the prairie hay capital of the world? Yates Center, Kansas.
Yep.
Is the prairie hay capital of the world.
Went through there one time when I was a youngster. They still had a wooden elevator at that time.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
We did.
Had Yates Center at the top of it. Now, that ain't nothing compared to going like down through Wichita Falls and down into Texas on that, whatever road that is. When you
Right
come
there.
back, you get on this ramp and you start going up, and it's divided highway, and the other highway's nowhere to be seen. And you start going up and up and up. And then when you get up close to the top, you can see you are headed right into the top of a huge grain silo. And you must be 50, 60, 70 feet up in the air. And then when you almost get to the silo, you take a hard left.
Really?
Who was smoking what when they drew this up? My cousin.
You know, it's funny. You talk about that. Spanky, Josh Sherman, had to make a delivery, and he was talking about that one day on a live. You know,
Yeah, that
because
is
he was
crazy.
driving that.
We went down to Big Spring, Texas, and worked on a building for a Baptist association down there for a week once with a group from the Volunteer Christian Builders. And they was talking about that. Some of them that was on our group, on our deal, had been there before. And they was talking about that. And when they went to talking about that, I'm like listening, you know, thinking, I don't remember seeing nothing like that. Well, we seen it when we come home. We even experienced it.
Really?
Who did this? And my dad would have said something like, whose idea was this? The Quapaw High School built a building for their high school sometime probably in about 1955 to 60. And that building was the one my dad went to high school in, and I went to high school in, and both of my sons went to high school in, and my wife graduated high school there too. But when they built it, instead of making the roof slope to where the water runs off the outside, they made the roof slope to where the water runs out in the middle of the building on both ends. Right over the door, you got to walk out.
Nice.
And I remember when my dad was on the school board, they was having some troubles with that roof, and he said, "Who did this?"
Oh, good.
Did he really say it that nice?
Yeah, he unless he was loading cattle, he was that nice.
I have a lot more colorful language I use. than things like that.
Embellished a little bit.
But they've trussed it now and put a metal roof over it that slopes off to the outside. I'm like, and whoever did that must have been, they hired him just because he went to school there or something.
Well, it comes from those days of that Art Deco, like we got to make weird buildings and stuff like that. Like
this would be normal, but we're too good to be normal.
So let's be abnormal. Like in the town of Fort Scott, Kansas, the whole town is, it's a historic, like it was the first fort in the Indian Territory in Kansas and stuff like that. So the whole town's decor is like those 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, old, plantation style houses and farmhouses and stuff like that.
Humongous houses.
Humongous. In the middle of the street, or in the middle of town, down the street, right down the street from these two great big plantation mansions, someone put a stucco house from like out of the Southwest that has like teal highlights and
wow.
looked like it was made out with the clay stucco. Looks like something would be out there with Val and Evelyn and all of them.
Yeah.
The Pueblo
like-
building.
Yeah.
Pueblo building. And when you drive down through there, you're like, oh yeah, there's the dope smoker in this bunch right there.
Hey, next time you're by there, stop and see if Mom's four-wheeler ain't there. Mm.
Oh goodness. If you don't mind my asking where you're at in Fort Sill.
Someone asked a question. We didn't answer it. Was it Glenn?
I think it was Glenn, wasn't it?
Glenn and Shannon, something about some cattle deal. I didn't catch it.
Bangs disease, I
Yeah.
think it was.
In the
Bangs?
70s and 80s.
Bangs. Yeah.
The government actually had a hold on that deal, and every cow that went through sale barns or processing plants had to be tested for bangs, which that's a slang term. Bangs is the real word was brucellosis.
Brucellosis. And
The-
you had to have all your heifers vaccinated, and they called
Yeah.
it calf-footed.
And they figured out after doing that for about 10 years, if you were anywhere close to a year or anywhere under 6 months when you had that done, the vaccination could cause your calf to come up and show that it was suspect to have brucellosis on their little
Yep.
test they did. It was a blood test.
was
So
a blood
every
test.
animal over 2 years old had to be tested when it went through stockyards. And I remember we was still doing that in the 90s, drawing
yeah.
blood on every animal that went through there. I think they still do it, but I'm not sure.
When I was working at the sale barn in Fort Scott, and that, like you say, in the 90s, early 90s, that's every cow had to go to the vet to be bled. And I mean,
Well,
by the end of the day, them guys were just wore completely out from doing nothing but pulling blood.
Yeah. A neighbor of ours that had a lot of limousine cattle, and they went to all these big limousine sales and would bring home some stuff once in a while. And they had like 300, 350 head of mama cows. They sold some old cows to Service Packing in Joplin. And then they got contacted by the state, and they said that one of their cows was suspect. But by the time they figured all that out, they'd already done away with the cow, so they couldn't go back and test them. And what it amounted to is when you got that, they come on your place, make an appointment with you, and you have to catch every animal you have, and they have to run it through a chute and bleed every animal you have. And you have to get, I think it was 3 clean tests in a row before you could get shed of that deal.
Yeah.
And
Well,
think-
that's
I think
Yeah,
they wound up selling almost half of their herd. It didn't hurt the meat, but it was
not at all.
it was a reproductive disease. But when you would sell them, they never bring as much money if they was suspect. And
They would mark them. They would take a brand and brand their jaw
with a
suspect.
big S.
Yep.
That meant they were suspect for having that brucellosis.
Yeah. And then
Our neighbors that had that, they tested every breeding age animal, and the ones that was the most difficult was their bulls. And their bulls, when you went out there to try to get them up, they didn't feed catch anything. They herded them up into a big lot and then into a corral from there. And them bulls would go out and stand in the middle of a pond.
and say, "Come get me."
Yeah, they didn't want to get caught. And so my dad we would go help them whenever they had to get all this stuff up, because it took a lot of help to get 300 cows wrangled around off of, like, I think their place was just under 600 acres. And so we'd go over there to help them, and we'd usually take a couple of horses, truck with a stock trailer, because they had some ground you could drive that. And that was pretty good, portable fence truck with a stock trailer. And I don't even remember what else, but we had other stuff we took over there to try to help them when they go to catching them. They had to have them all caught the day before so they would be ready, because it would take them almost a whole day to go through there and one at a time bleed every one of them. But Dad had this old horse named Smokey, and he had a lot of spirit, and he had this bad habit of throwing his head up in your face. And so
Night,
Dad
Night,
had
Avid.
Night, Avid.
cable tie downs that went around his muzzle and had a leather strap that went around behind his ears, and the cable went down and hooked onto his saddle cinch, and that'd keep him from throwing his head in your face.
Oh, yeah.
Dad rode that horse off in the pond to get them bulls out of the pond and drowned the horse. I
No
thought
way.
by the time we got Dad out of there, he's going to be drowned too. And so, what do you do to get the bulls out then? And Dad's like, I couldn't figure out what the deal was, why he couldn't get his head up. And then it hit me after the horse went completely down and dumped Dad off in the water. He said, well, Dad, he had a tie down on him. If I'd have took that loose, he could have got around. But
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
we put the fire out on old Smokey permanent like that
Yeah.
day. And somebody had broke into that guy. That guy's name was Rife, Bob. Somebody had broke into his house and stole his guns at one point. And so the only thing he had was a pump up Daisy BB gun. And he had that with him somehow. And he had been horseback. I really don't know where the gun came from, but he had that with him, and he said, I don't think this will get that bull out of there. And I said, let me see it. I dumped a handful of BBs out of the thing, and I loaded the barrel of it full of BBs and pumped it about 20 times. You know how to tell when you've made a bull hurt a little bit? They'll blink. They do this.
Yep.
3 of them bulls ran out of that pond at the same time.
So I got a funny story about BB guns and bulls. Me and my buddy, my dad used to run a really big cattle operation in Missouri. And before him, our friend's dad run it. And so me and my friend, we got BB guns, and we're over there, and the lot is plumb full of bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And so us two ornery kids, we got the bright idea that it was fun to shoot them bulls with that BB gun, because they would buck and run and jump and carry on. Well, then we got to thinking it was real fun to shoot those hanging things underneath those bulls.
Oh no!
And we spent about 30 minutes one day doing that. And then the next day they tested those bulls. That's why they were in there. And 2 or 3 of them went down the road because they weren't good for some reason.
You put your eye out with one of them.
You could do worse than that.
Yeah, shame on
goodness.
you. Turn a perfectly good bull into hamburgers.
Yeah, it deserved it. It was a longhorn. That's all the should have went extinct 100 years ago.
Oh, goodness.
My cousin Gary lives in the place just to the east of the Baxter Rodeo grounds, and they would always have some bulls get out on them when they was doing something over there. He said they come home one day, and it was either on Sunday or Monday after the rodeo, and they could tell that somebody had been in at the driveway. And when they got down there, inside of their barn, he had an old boxcar barn. The middle of it was 2 boxcars that were set a little ways apart, and then it had sheds that was on both sides. And one of them sheds was open on the far end, and they had run them bulls in there and roped them. And they had 3 of them bucking bulls in his barn tied up to the foundation where them piers were that held them boxcars up with log chains. They didn't trust a rope on them for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not thinking bulls on that deal.
Oh, well, I can tell you, my family was they all drove cattle pots. You know, my dad and all his brothers, they all hauled semi loads of cattle. Well, my oldest uncle, you know, he hauled a load of bulls out of Joplin Cell Barn one night, and he was hauling them to you know, the kill plant up north, and them bulls just fighting and carrying on in that pot. I mean, we pulled into a truck stop and to eat, and the pot was just sitting there like, you know, you thought it was going to flip over. And pretty soon, my uncle looks over there next to this, you know, station we stopped at, and there was barbed wire fence, and he told my other uncle, he's like, "Hey, go give me a piece of that wire." And he's like, "What do you got? You need to tie up a door or something?" He said, "Go get a piece of that wire." So he took his Farmer Fred's and went and cut a piece of barbed wire about 6 foot long out of the fence and come bringing him. And my other uncle took that and made a loop in the end of that barbed wire. And then he stuck it through the hole of that trailer, and he caught some family jewels in it, and then pulled it back against the end of that trailer and just wired it off to the side. And that bull went to step ahead to go ram that other bull, and he just stopped right there in his tracks. Then he went around the other side, did it to the other one, and there those two stood, just faced off. They didn't know what to do.
Jeez. Hi, Ed.
How do you deal with that, Lisa?
So how many people we
It's
got
all
in
day,
here?
every day.
35. Okay, guys. I got an idea today. Me and Jesse decided we want to do a giveaway.
Okay.
I got one of our Rainy Ridge cups here.
Hey, where'd you get that?
I found them alongside the road.
Hey, now.
I thought we found him in a parking lot.
Oh, it was a parking lot, wasn't it? Didn't we go to eat Chinese or something?
Yeah.
Is it
And you
NNC
went and got the
Creations
ice cream?
or PNC Creation or
Meters.
Neater's Creations?
Meters.
Neater, neater, neater.
Neater,
Actually,
neater,
I'm going-
neater.
She's ignoring you.
She is ignoring me. I think she's after ice cream or something back there.
Nope.
Milk and Oreos, I'm certain.
Milk and Oreos. I'm coming over.
Put them in a microwave. You got a cake.
Ew.
I've seen that.
It actually is really good.
Have you ever bought any of those little packets that you're supposed to mix with some hot water in a coffee cup in a mug and put it in a microwave, and it doesn't take very long, and it makes like a brownie in a cup. They're really good.
I just did the crushed up Oreos and milk and put them in a microwave. It makes a cake. It's weird. It's so good.
And it's so good.
It's so good.
So
Super good.
You're just like that.
Jesse's gonna set a timer
I'll
for
just take your
for
word on
3
it,
minutes.
Jesse.
Just like that Mr. Foods. It's so good.
And underneath my finger, I've wrote down a number between 1 and 100.
One.
And the closest one.
I know you're in
100.
McDonald County. I know you're in McDonald County.
And you can only enter one.
But there's more numbers than one between 1 and 100.
The first one that we see with it, or close.
It must be
to
87.
No.
Well, we're not going to tell yes or no. We're going to wait till
Oh.
your time's done. So I guess it's 99 now because you done used 87.
Nana, you went and ruined it.
She said to
Better
do it
tell-
between 1 and
Better
100,
go through all
so-
that again so everybody's got it figured out.
Okay, so Jesse set a timer, and we're gonna pick a number, but everybody can pick a number between 1 and 100, except for 87.
I hope you're watching.
The closest one to it first wins the cup.
Troy, you can't guess somebody else's number.
Where's Cora? Cora's
It's
in
going to be
here.
the first one. So if somebody's
Hi,
already
Cora.
guessed it, we'll just go with that one. Okay, stop.
That's somebody's Trey. So you got Troy and Trey playing off each other there.
Hi, Troy.
How
Hi,
long's your timer
Troy.
got?
I'm so glad to see you in here.
Oh, there's Greg,
Mm-hmm.
Donna, Duncan. See, that's what the only problem with having our chat up here. There's a lot more out there.
I don't
I
know
think
why
we're
you have
getting
yours
both
up
of
here.
all of them
Yep.
on ours.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got. We're
Are we
going
close
off of
yet?
the whole thing.
Anybody got close?
Maybe.
Maybe, maybe not.
Do,
They're
and
not
Did you
Maybe.
get your message?
for
What are you
3
gonna get?
minutes.
number 2900?
Fine, Nana. I'll close it out.
No.
So then, when some bad juju person comes in there and starts sharing all these links,
You see, considering I don't need to guess because I already got one.
hey, you
I've
got a
already
one
got
of a
one.
kind.
I've already got one. but
I
haven't
ain't got
guessed it.
one, man.
I don't really want one. I can give it to
Oh,
somebody
see how you
else.
are. How'd I get on this side?
I switched the camera.
Oh.
Are you being for real?
For
What?
reals.
For reals?
For reals? Well, I don't want to give away one of my Paul Case cups.
Yeah, we only got 3.
I don't have one of them either. Mine says Bueno on the
And
top.
see, the thing of it is,
Bueno.
I can make extra.
Maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to give one of our cups away. so,
Maybe.
Yeah.
She as long as
How
there's
much
not a
left? Oh, we
time
got 40.
constraint.
44 seconds. Get your numbers in there.
I guess we could have said 2 minutes and been good, huh?
Yeah. I don't even think we needed a timer.
If I win this,
For realsies, Bowen says.
well, 68 and 69 are pretty close. Is it 22? Now it's 19. This number keeps changing.
15, 14.
13,
Go, Lisa. Go, Lisa. Go, Lisa.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can't even see it. Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wait.
Evelyn is in there just
Alrighty.
under the wire.
Wait, I'm waiting. So the number is,
70.
and somebody got it right on the dot.
77.
Lori.
Yeah.
Lori's prepping for heaven.
Lori got it right off the
Lori.
bat.
Hey, that's a good number right there.
She wouldn't let me pick 7, so I did 77.
I'm not that old yet.
No, I ain't either.
No.
So Lori, email me. It's rainyridgecreations@gmail.com and send me your address and I'll send you a cup.
77 was 47 years ago.
Well, gee.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Not near as long as 50 years
What's the
ago.
email?
Where does Lori live? What state's she in? You know,
Massachusetts.
I know it's out east.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
I'll send one of your cups to
I
Massachusetts.
can't believe it. Congratulations,
All right.
Lori.
Duncan says, Anita, I want a cup. What do you want it to say, Greg? Give me the Sharpie.
Give me the Sharpie.
Well, Greg, all you have to
I will
do
make
is
you a cup right now.
I can put Greg's name on it. You can get a hold of Anita, the creator of that cup.
what would you like to have on your cup?
Anita, the creator.
Anita, the creator
No,
of
she
that.
needs a channel.
Oh.
She needs a channel now. Her channel
Yeah,
name
she-
should be Anita, the creator.
Yeah.
She has a channel.
I have
but
a
she's
Facebook channel.
not
but that's
doing
it.
that. But you can email her at acneater, NEETER, at gmail.com.
Oh, I thought he was going to say it live.
That's different. That's different than where you send your complaints. all your complaints, you need to go ahead, type them out, use foul language if you want. We don't even care. And send them to casesawmill@live.com.
Goodness.
And where is Skittles and Glitter at? She's usually in here telling people.
I don't know. I
Oh,
haven't
it's
seen her
too
all night.
I
late.
did.
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping.
She's carrying in firewood.
Yeah, if we would have played Cahoots, you never know.
She's afraid that there might be tractor talk.
I didn't do very good on Cahoots this week. I get up just to get up to 5th place, and boom!
Well, they may or may not have been not easy ones.
This would get them more
Yeah.
interested if to do a logo like mine or like Tina's. What does it cost usually to do one of them on one of the?
One of those cups.
Mhm.
Hold on, and I can tell you.
You would think after she's done them for you, and after I've paid for all the cups for the ones she did for me, she could just right off the top of her head, she'd know it, right?
Make sure and
I
figure
don't have
some
no
profit in
Days
there.
on the top of my head.
Yeah. Don't make it too cheap. Tell me a number in my ear before we tell anybody else.
Go whisper in his ear first.
Whisper sweet nothings in his ear.
It'll sound like this. $3. No.
Bowen, I want to know what's your complaint email?
Mine?
Yeah, we want to know what it is.
Karma.
Still here
My-
listening. While
My
I-
actual email?
No,
Yes.
He said he created a
Bowen,
complaint email.
Bowen said he
Um,
created a complaint email. He was inspired by you.
Mine's all lowercase. Rainy Ridge.
So
Feed.
y'all want to know what it is?
Yeah, it's all lowercase, Lori.
Lori, you've got it right, but it's all lowercase. You've got it right, but it's all lowercase.
Email's not case sensitive.
It
Oh.
doesn't matter if you put them up or down. You got it right, Lori. Dale said so.
Uh-oh. Somebody in there's been woken up by my
Whoa,
giggling.
wait a minute. We may not want Bowen to put that up here because I'm not certain that I haven't heard people use some really sketchy stuff in the name of their complaint email. Bowen
True
probably
story.
wouldn't, but if it's clean, Bowen, if we don't need a moderator for it,
If Bowen's not a moderator, he can't put it up there. But if he's on my channel, he can put it up there because he's a mod on it.
He's a mod on
He's a
ours.
mod on yours. Good.
So what can I put
Yeah.
on it?
Lori, you're getting the Rainy Ridge one.
yeah, you're getting the
Yeah,
Rainy Ridge.
it has Rainy Ridge on it.
It looks just like
Just
the one
like
that
that.
Tina's holding.
That's
That
the one
is
you're
the
getting.
one that she's getting.
I ain't even used it yet.
Not
Is it worth?
unused.
Oh, I like that one, Bowen.
That's a good one, Bowen.
That's a good one.
Take it up with Jesus.
Oh, that's good.
Yo.
Mine's almost gone.
Dale and Nana
We didn't
switch
switch
seats fast.
This is the right way. This is actually what way
No,
our
it's
house
not.
is.
Yeah.
Really? You guys are going to prove how dumb I am? Watch this.
Oh, there you go.
I just closer to the middle.
Oh, ours don't go that fast because
How about that? Is that better? It just looks like
Oh, he's fancy.
Ouch.
He's getting his exercise in the night.
I don't even know where I left it. Is it on the right one? Nope, it's not. There. That's more wronger.
Hey, I like that view better.
I do. I like the circles.
The circles.
Oh, Lori says, so am I sending an email to Tina or Nita?
Tina.
Tina,
Me.
but
Tina.
Nita's email is up there. So if you want to have her
Order.
make you something, to order one
Yeah.
of these wonderful
Ours
cups.
is free.
This is the giveaway, though.
Yeah.
This one's
You will
the free
receive
one.
a Rainy Ridge cup, but if you want a cup,
To
personalized
to
cup,
purchase one, if you would like to, what's the word I'm
If you
looking
would
for?
like to purchase a
Commission
cup at Nita,
Nita to make you a cup of your choosing, email Nita.
yes.
Whoa, lucky.
What? You got one of those too?
You just got one of them.
I am
Are you sure?
Will the circle be unbroken?
like Bowen. I'm surprised that email wasn't taken already.
Mhm.
Chippy.
Here's what she's come up with. She can do the cups for 20, but if she has to ship them to you, it'll be plus shipping.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But that's what it costs to have them made, and that
So
includes the cup.
with my
Thing, so.
logo.
If anybody's interested in that, you can email my wife Anita, my beautiful, lovely wife.
If you want your logo, you'll have to send your logo with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can email her and get it started. And her email is acneeter@gmail.com. I'm not as good as Ann Dale. I tried to get her to say my channel name on their live the other day. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. I was gonna record it so I could play it somewhere.
And Lori, yes, our channel or our email is on our about page.
I figured out why I get so hot. Because we've
Because
got
you're sitting next to me.
oh, that is why. Because you admit
He walked right into that one, didn't he?
easy now. That is contagious, Paul.
Well, I'm fixing to tell you a story. I'll figure out which one it's going to be.
He might tell us the story for all of us because we're going to have to go too because I've been yelled at for giggling too loud and keeping him awake. So let's hear Paul's story.
He's trying to decide which one.
One of my favorite memories when I was a little kid was my dad singing in the pickup truck. He had a 66 Chevrolet pickup truck that he had bought from his father or his mother when his father passed away. And he sang songs that we did not sing at church, but they were a little bit churchy. And What a Day That Will Be is one of them. And he would sing that. And I thought it sounded great being half drowned out by the sound of a little squeaky pickup truck. I remember going out to feed cows with him whenever it was icy and snowy sometimes. And we'd drive that old pickup truck out and put out hay. And then we about couldn't make it back to the house. And it was because of that old pickup truck that I learned to drive before I was 10 years old, mostly out of necessity. And I didn't have it cushy like a lot of people do. And that truck had been a 3 on the tree, if you know, you know. And Dad had put a 4-speed transmission in it. And so it had a really slow, low gear. And that was how I learned to drive, was steering that old truck while he was feeding square bales out of the back of it.
So I learned to drive.
Now, there was a couple from our church that also had a truck that wasn't much different in age than that. And they came to get some square bales out of the field where we was baling them. And Dad went to having trouble with the baler. And he sent me to the shop being 10, 11, 12 years old with that old pickup, which would have been half a mile down the dirt road from where we was at, to get something for him. And so I got in that truck, drove it out on the road and down the road and come back. When I got back, that lady, her husband was with her, but that lady was out there chewing my dad out. How come Paul knows how to drive and my son Brian's a year older than him and he don't know how to drive? And my dad informed her that he wasn't in charge of teaching her son how to drive. And so they tried to teach him how to drive while they was trying to stack hay on the back of that pickup. I bet they reloaded that pickup 4 times if they got out of the field. Y'all have a good night. I hope you have a good church meeting tomorrow if you're able to go and celebrate the Lord Jesus tomorrow. We'll see you next time.
Night, Paul.
Night,
We
Paul.
love you.
Bye.
Good night, Paul.
Night, Paul.
Oh my goodness.
And everybody, I think we're gonna call her a night too.
Oh.
Like I said, I keep waking Eric up. So, but we thank everybody for coming
Yeah.
in. Thank you, Nan and
Well,
Dale.
thanks for having
Well,
us.
thanks for having us.
Of
Of
course.
We don't have to do much of the talking.
Bye.
See, she can talk. She's not just here for the pretty.
Well, I couldn't talk earlier. I mean, it was the Dale and Paul show.
It's great though. We love
Yes,
listening to
I
those
love
stories.
it.
So
Mhm.
Yep. Hey, I don't like.
Did you
like
see my
talking on
picture I
the
sent
camera,
you?
So, good night, guys. Love you.
Night,
night,
everybody.
Night.
everybody.